Hello and welcome to Scott's Garage. Well, I don't know whether you can recognize this, but this is our freezer, our kind of horizontal chest type freezer that lives in the garage here. And you may wonder, why is it up on my sturdy sawhorses? Well, that's because there was a problem. We came home from our vacation, and like the next morning, I walked out to get something out of the freezer. I opened the door, which sits over here, and it was a real horror show inside. I was like, what in the world is going on in here? Everything was thawed. There was about 3 inches of water in the bottom. It was sort of murky, weird looking water. It was kind of cool inside the freezer, and there were some ice chips kind of floating around a little bit. So I knew everything was still kind of cold, which was good. So I went and I got a bunch of laundry baskets and I took everything out of here, and I had to try and fit it in the freezer in the kitchen, which thankfully it did fit. Once I took the ice box, the ice maker out of there, then it fit a lot better, but just barely everything fit in there. Then I took this and I was started off like sopping up the water to get it out of there, and then once I got a little bit lower, I saw that it had a drain in there, and I said, "Oh, that's great." So I kind of wheeled it out. It has wheels, so I wheeled it out into the driveway. I sprayed the whole thing off and rinsed out the inside several times and let it drain and drain and drain. So I'm going to go through some of the troubleshooting that I went through to kind of figure out what's wrong, and then we're going to try to fix this thing. So the first thing you do is you say maybe it's something simple, like maybe we blew a fuse or something. So I unplugged it and I checked it with a drill to see, and it has like a 4-gang plug over there that we plug it into, and I plugged it in and all of them seem to be working. So I didn't know what was going on from there. So it doesn't look like it was a fuse. I even tried plugging in a few different places just to see maybe if it wasn't getting contact. But it looks like it has electricity available. It's just dead. And in here, there's a little panel where you adjust the temperature, and there's a light that's supposed to come on. That was not on. And so then I plugged it into an electrical source, and then I even took my uh, test probe and put it right on there just to make sure that electricity was going inside. And it was. So it's got electricity, but it just seems to be completely dead. The compressor's not running, nothing's working at all. So this is what I did next. The first thing that I did is I took off this side panel. It's just one screw there, and it's just a plastic panel. So it looks like I had access to all the works. There was another plastic panel that covered those things, so I took that off, as well as this. Took some pictures and unplugged it, unplugged the switch and things there. And there's really not much to it. I mean, there's probably some coils in the bottom, but this is just a vent here, and there's really nothing on this side. So it's a very simple unit, and you may wonder how I got it up on the sawhorses. It only weighs 75 pounds, so I was able to kind of muscle it and work it back and forth to see if I could get it up there and work on it. And yeah, so that's after I looked at it a little bit, I thought this is pretty simple. Compressor, some wirings, a switch. Can't be that much that goes wrong with it. So this is the old thermostat. I labeled the wires that go in here black and purple. This just sticks in there as a temperature probe. It kind of goes into a hole in there in the freezer. And then this is the ground. And this is how you would turn it up and down. So I thankfully on the internet, on YouTube, there were some nice people that were showing me how to check continuity. So if we have this here, oops, I don't know if we can see that. And then I touch these here, I get nothing. And if I turn the dial all the way up, I get absolutely nothing. It just stays at 1. Only time it changes is when I put the two together. So I think that this temperature probe is dead. So if we look at the thing here, it goes all the way, oh, that's all the way to max. So yeah, I think that thing is dead. So what I did is I went and ordered another one of these. I couldn't find this on Amazon, amazingly, so I had to buy it from a sort of a appliance repair shop, which is pretty cool. I forget what they were called. No, this is an actual Hisense part. Let's just turn it all the way up. There we go. I think that's like fully open. I think that means it's fully wide open, just like if we touch these together. Okay, nothing. So when this is turned off, we get nothing. When we turn it up, we get something. So that's pretty cool. So that pretty much tells me that this part is bad. But there's another way that I can tell whether this part was bad or not. Let me show you. These are the wires that come to this panel that's here. These two are for the light, the power light, ground, and then these two are the ones that the thermostat is in there, and when you change this, it changes the amount of electricity that it lets through there. So if I just like put a jumper on this, and then we listened really carefully for our motor to click on. I don't know whether you can hear that, but it did. It's not very loud, but it did kick on and start to hum. So I don't think there's anything wrong with any of the other components that are in there. I think they're just fine. And so I think it was just the thermostat. Okay, so we can get the compressor to work with a new thermostat, but what about the light? How come that light didn't go on? So I hooked up the original light bulb to these wires and checked, and it had power going to the light bulb, and the light bulb looked a little dodgy to begin with. Let me show you that. Okay, so this is the original light bulb in there. It's kind of hard to see because it's frosted, but it's just a little bit dark there. And so I did put the voltage probes on those two wires, and it did have 110 volts going to it and nothing coming out, no light. So how can we test this? I first tried with like an automotive bulb or some other ones in there that I'm not sure what their voltage was. And one didn't work, and one I kind of blew it out. And so I figure, well, it seems like it has 110 volts going. Why don't I just use a regular like light bulb from, from a lamp or something? So let's do that here. And if we had like this one here, there we go. Light bulb turns on. So I think it was just the bulb. So that's one of the parts that I ordered, a new bulb. Let's see if we can install all that right now. So I was a bit tempted just to put these here, but then I realized that I need to put it through this piece here. It comes with a new green sort of button here, and if I can get that out and put this through first, and then have that, and then hook this up, I think that's the right way to do it. So before I go much farther on this, why don't I see if it works? This brown one goes to a purple one, and this pink one is sort of like red, so maybe it would do good if I did this. Hey, it lights up. I'm a genius. All right, cool. All right, so let's try and get this this button out of here. It looks like it just has a few little things that you push, detents, I don't know what you call them, springy dudes. So, all right, so let's see if we can squeeze this a bit without breaking it. All right, now I have a spare. I'm not sure spare what, but I have a spare. Okay, put this in here and kind of line it up with my things, and it should just snap right in. There we go. Cool. Okay, now I'm gonna probably try to use the smaller one of these, if it will fit in there. All right, so we got that. Next thing to do is to attach the new thermostat. Okay, my old one says black is at the top, blue is there, and then I even wrote green right there. That's fine. Carefully. And it was kind of funny when I was doing research. For this type of unit, this is a Hisense, but there's like Kenmore brands of this. There's all kinds of Sears. There's all kinds of other brands of this model that are used. They just all use the same kind of basic shape, made by, I don't know, maybe. So the end of this temperature probe goes inside there. There's a little hole that it sticks in. So this will all have to go in there like that. But before we do that, we can put this through here. And I believe it goes something like this. So what I'm doing is trying to make sure that this goes in there kind of as far as it will go. That looks like kind of as far as I can push that in. And then also make sure it's not kinked or anything. Okay, so I just snap that in there. And then I'm looking in here to make sure nothing is amiss. Okay, so I'm real happy with how this is threaded in there. That's where my probe goes. This is hanging out there nice. Okay, so let's just put this knob on here, line it up with the flat. That looks pretty good. Okay, hopefully no sparks, no smoke. And that looks like it's lighting up. I think we have a light there, yeah. And I hear the compressor going. And feeling on the inside, you can feel it's cold. So I think the only thing left to do is put this panel back in place. Okay, so I have the light on. I have it adjusted to mid. It's all the way up against there, but I have some 2x4s to create a little bit of an air gap. Plus I do have my mesh screen for my garage going outside, so it gets lots of ventilation down there. Getting cold already, so I think we could just leave that for a little while, make sure it gets nice and cold before we start putting food in there, but I think we're fixed. All right, so I think that just about does it for our freezer project. We put a new bulb in the indicator light and a new thermostat. And did I say that when I was doing research, I found out that the thermostat was the #1 thing that went wrong? Almost everybody that had a problem with these units, it was the thermostat. So that thermostat was about $16, which wasn't too bad. And then also, I also saw some people online where they had problems with the thermostat and the light bulb was out as well. So just about as common of a malfunction as you can have, it seems like. Which is great. That's good that things aren't unusual. It's just something kind of run of the mill. So the light bulb was, I think, $8, so 8 and 16 plus I think $8 for shipping. So with tax and everything, turned out to be about $30. So this unit new is several $100s, and if I had just put it out by the curb, I'm sure somebody would have just taken it, probably done the same thing that I just did, and $30 they would have had themselves a working freezer, which that's the part that bothers me, is I don't want them to take something that I threw away, get it working, and then use it for years and years of happy, worry-free. For some reason, that just sticks in my craw that somebody would do that. I'm like, no, I bought it. I paid for this thing. I'm gonna get all my use out of it. So that's kind of the way I feel about that. Is would have been several $100s to get a new one. I don't know how much it would cost to have a repair guy come out here. Probably several $100s. It's probably not even worth it to get it fixed, in terms of, like, I think they're like $150 to show up, the appliance guys. So yeah, so 30 something dollars, and we got this thing working, and I think we're good to go. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, it's definitely cold on the inside. Super. Okay, so I think that just about does it for this episode of Scott's Garage. Hope you enjoyed watching this, and I really enjoyed the troubleshooting and fixing, and this was kind of an easy project, so love those, love easy stuff from time to time. So anyway, hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time on Scott's Garage. Thanks for watching. Bye. Bye-bye.